A warm welcome to this session on the Reclaim the Economic Action Week. We're excited to have you all here. My name is Lena. I am the participation advisor for an organization called Earth for All, and I am here with two of my colleagues in crime. Frances, if you'd like to give a quick intro of yourself.
I am Frances Rayner. I'm the Comms and Narratives co-lead at the Wellbeing Economy Alliance.
Thank you, Frances, and we'll also be joined by Lisa a bit later. So yeah, warm welcome to you all to this session on this is intended as an information webinar on the Action Week that we are putting together for January. So this Action Week, Reclaim the Economy Week, will be taking place from 26th of January to the 1st of February 2026. That is right after the World Economic Forum gathering in Davos. So we really want to harness kind of the momentum of Davos and of all these talks about the current economy, but also where this economy could be going if we reclaimed it. So our intention with this Action Week is to create this new unbranded global moment for us to unite to demand economies that put people and planet first. And like all Action Weeks, this is really about bringing many, many organizations under the same umbrella of demands. And I'd like to actually introduce our opening speaker, Chellie Spiller, to give us a bit more background about the power of these Action Weeks. Chellie, the floor is yours.
Kia ora, thanks, Lena. I'll bring up my slides as well very shortly. But ngā mihi nui kia koutou, e ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā hau e whā, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. So greetings to you all. I'm acknowledging your ancestral lines, the languages that you speak, and to the peoples of the four winds gathered here today. I acknowledge the Indigenous peoples of the lands upon which you live and work, and I greet you all with great respect. I acknowledge the Indigenous peoples of the place in which I live, the peoples of Ngāti Whātua, Ōrākei, and my own Māori tribe, Ngāti Kahungunu ki Wairoa. So really excited to be here. This webinar, as Lena said, is an invitation to begin preparing for the Reclaim the Economy Week that will take place 26 January to 1st of February next year. And today is very much about laying down what we call in Māori the mauri, the life force, as we prepare and orient towards that week. And that by coming here today, we affirm that the economy belongs to all of us, and that each of us has the power and the responsibility to shape its future. So I invite you all, as you know, a community of people, to start thinking about what part can we play in this global week of action. So I'm going to bring up some slides and take you on a really short journey into the world of Māori economies. And I really want to acknowledge Paul Dalziel, who's here today. Paul is a seminal thinker in Aotearoa, New Zealand, on wellbeing economies, and also was a reviewer of this book that you can see on the screen. And you're welcome to download the book on that link that I've provided there for you. So this is a recent research project that was conducted over a number of years on Māori economies of wellbeing, and it places at its centre families. It's an Indigenous Māori worldview that's reflected here in New Zealand and right across the Pacific, where our ancestors were wayfinders who navigated vast oceans by orienting to the stars, to the currents, to the flight path of birds, and paid deep attentiveness to the signs around them. So wayfinding teaches us to read the signs of our times and to orient towards a different future. So rather than chasing a future that's out ahead of us, in wayfinding, we call the island to us. So I'll tell you a little bit about that as we progress. And we call the future into the present through the choices that we make today. And transformation in Indigenous world and right across the world in the communities that you belong to comes from the collective voices and actions of people, communities and movements, where families, what we call whānau here in Aotearoa, and citizens reclaim the story of the economy and we shift the needle collectively. Public mobilisation then is about creating that groundswell of activated hope that insists on a better version of the economy, that it's not only possible, but indeed is already under the way. And around the world, Indigenous communities, wellbeing alliances, such as people here today, and grassroots movements are already living alternatives, multiplying spirals of change rather than scaling one model. So in my work, I'm a professor of leadership at the University of Waikato here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. I've seen how transformation depends on catalysts, people and communities who spark energy in others, who multiply change through networks of trust, and who refuse to give up on the possibility of a flourishing future. And this is why civic mobilisation matters so deeply. It's not a solo act, but a collective one. Each of us carries a spark, and together we generate that groundswell needed to reclaim our economies. So around the world, wellbeing economy models have emerged as a response to environmental, economic and social failings. What some call the new economy for Māori and other Indigenous peoples, it's not new, but remembered. It's a knowledge system that views the economy as deeply embedded in relationships, on the land and with the wider living world. It's what we call the KNEW economy, the new economy. And in Aotearoa, New Zealand, wellbeing economy efforts actively include a Māori worldview. And it's founded on a sophisticated genealogical ordering system that we call whakapapa, that binds humans, nature, and the spiritual world together. And in this worldview, it doesn't so much trickle down, but emanates from within. It's the legacy of a rich spiritual heritage of unseen powers that manifest in an abundant life. And by life, we mean people, rivers, mountains, oceans, and ecosystems teeming with life and thriving in their ways. So a Māori approach to the economy challenges trickle-down myths that assume prosperity for some will eventually lift all. In practice, trickle-down economics can lead to concentrations of wealth rather than broad-based prosperity. We draw upon one of our seminal thinkers over here, Professor Mānuka Hinari's economy of mana model. Mānuka left for us as a legacy an influential framework that has guided conceptualizations and practical endeavours to build Māori economies of wellbeing. So his criteria included holistic view of wellbeing, being embedded in ecological systems, and is also capable of reorganizing itself to create new futures. And we build on Mānuka's work by adding 8 touchstones. I won't go into them here, but you can read about them in the book if you decide to download it. But just to touch on 3 of those, the first touchstone is that true wealth is in relationships, within whānau or families, among communities, and with all of creation. Touchstone 4, for Māori and for many of you, we stand proud when the places that we love are thriving. That identity is inseparable from land, from waterways. And stewardship isn't about domination, but about consciousness. We so often look to fix the world, and instead we must look to also fix ourselves. And mana touchstone 5, whānau families are autonomous. each family making decisions rooted in their own aspirations and connections. A key part of the way that we look at the economy from our perspective is that extensive international research, particularly by the Harvard Project on Native American Economic Development, shows that when communities with strong levels of self-determination and what we call cultural match have that alignment, they will more likely succeed in economic development in their own terms, where the economy is about serving a higher well-being purpose with intergenerational outcomes. And to support cultural match in this research, we also produced a dictionary. You can see the cover of that on the screen here, Rohi Kupu, and that was done by Tāne Karamaina, who's a fluent Te Reo Māori speaker, and he has taken the body of knowledge around economic and wellbeing terms and translated them into Māori. Just to touch on a couple of practical case studies, we have over here many organisations, particularly tribal ones, who have intergenerational plans. For example, Wakatu Incorporation is a highly successful Māori trust based in the north of the South Island of New Zealand with some 4,000 shareholders, all descendants of the original customary owners. They've got interests in aquaculture, viticulture, and also property, but they have a 500-year intergenerational plan with values that are deeply rooted in culture. So, for example, you can see here on the screen about the environment, to uphold kaitiakitanga or stewardship, nurturing the land, water, and sea. And also a ngākau hihiko, which is about our vitality and our heart, the mauri, the life force that brings strength, energy, and courage to move forward collectively, to enhance future generations and explore opportunities. And as you can see there, also strengthening families and connecting to history. Another example here is of a New Zealand Infrastructure Summit that was held in New Zealand in March this year. The New Zealand government hosted the summit with about 100 companies from 15 different countries, controlling about 6 trillion in assets. And at that summit were these amazing, highly experienced Māori leaders who were the only non-government presenters at that summit. And they brought insights about doing things from both a cultural and a commercial perspective, and talking about areas of economic development such as water and waste facilities, renewable energy generation, agriculture and horticulture, and so forth. But again, what makes the Māori economy so unique to our ways of doing things is the extent to which we orient to our values. And you can see 3 of those values there on the screen. Kaitiakitanga, that means stewardship, our role as guardians and stewards. Manaakitanga, to uplift and care for people and relationships. And whanaungatanga, the importance of connection and reciprocity. So what we find in our research and in practice is that these values are at the very heart of what it means to create well-being across economic, environmental, social, cultural, and spiritual dimensions. And that true wealth is in the relationships. And these 3 values that you see here on the screen, along with many other that make up that body of knowledge of Te Ao Māori and Māori worldview, they're all relational values, and they teach us how to be in good relationship with ourselves, with each other, and with the world. And I just want to finish on this idea of calling the island to you. So as we call reclaiming the economy to us in the present, start thinking about, well, what can we do in this moment to start making choices to really bring a new future into being. So to echo the way of our ancestors, your ancestors, because each of us is the living face of wayfinders, brave men and women who went in search of a better life, in search of new ways of doing things, and went on journeys of discovery to new horizons. So their method is to pay attention to the world around us and make choices that call the future into the present. And we're each called to be the wayfinders of today and have the courage to regenerate. So let's call Action Week to us as a chance to amplify, connect, and multiply. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Chellie. Okay. No, sorry. One sec. I'm going to try again. Just had an issue with my slides.
Would you like me to put it up while you talk, Frances?
Oh, yeah, that would be fantastic if you don't mind. Thank
Let
you.
me do that.
Cheers. As usual, we did a trial run before we started, and then yeah. Okay, great. So yeah, Reclaim the Economy Week is, our goal is to create this new annual moment where all eyes are on redesigning our economies. So we know people around the world are hungry for economic systems change, and there are so many of us here practicing, modeling, and advocating for economies that put people and planet first. We just want to make this visible and reach the broadest possible public and get it on the agenda of politicians and the media. If you could go to the next slide, thanks. Cheers. So there's no one size fits all model for what a life-centric economy should look like, and this will be reflected in the week. So whether you're talking about donuts, degrowth, indigenous economics, Maori economics, human rights economics, there's lots of different models. We'd love for you to take part, bringing your own campaigns, framing, and events to the week. We'll have a map on the website where you can upload your own activities, and we'll include all of your kind of planned activities and campaigns in any of the kind of media outreach we do to try and get as much visibility of it as possible. And yeah, I think if you're joining us from an existing organisation working on economic change, we'd really encourage you to think about how you can use this moment to engage new audiences where you are. And Lena will share more on this shortly. But we will create a petition drawing in key demands from economic change advocates so that there's an easy, accessible action for people to take. And one thing that can help people feel that sense of global solidarity while you're all doing your own thing locally, we'll produce videos and templates you're welcome to use for social and traditional media. At the moment, the website is only available in English, but we'll very soon have a Brazilian, Portuguese and Spanish version as well. So I'm going to pass the mic to Lukas from the Wellbeing Economy Alliance in Scotland to share just one example of a project that they've been working on, which we thought would be a good example of the kind of thing you might want to use the week for. Thanks, Lukas, over to you.
Hi everyone, thanks Frances. Yeah, I'm really excited about the week, Reclaim the Economy Week coming up next year. Frances asked me to briefly share a little bit about the work we've done on the Wellbeing Economy Manifesto in Scotland. So in Scotland, we've got Scottish Parliament elections coming up in May next year. And so one of the things we wanted to do this year was to put together a manifesto co-created with our members of the Wellbeing Economy Alliance in Scotland to kind of set out some kind of bold and potentially transformative actions for wellbeing economy in Scotland. I guess the challenge for that is, which most of you will probably be not aware of, if you try to write a policy list of all the things we need to do to redesign the economy, it gets quite long. And we didn't want to have like a 100-page kind of manifesto. And at the same time, we wanted to co-create it with our members and also stay within the kind of bounds of what the Scottish government can do, because it's not a fully independent government, so there's limits to the kind of powers it has. And so we settled on an approach where we basically tried to identify a handful of policies which we thought would be kind of like feasible, but also transformative, and kind of be like a bit like statement policies that can really show the government's intent of moving towards a well-being economy, if they wanted to do that. And we decided to structure that around the 5 well-being economy needs, which is purpose, participation, dignity, fairness, and nature. And we tried to come up with one kind of policy under each of these. And the way we went about it is we basically had 2 in-person workshops in the beginning of around May, I think, and invited open to all our members. And basically people could choose the groups. They could join a group that was related to one of the 5 needs, and they basically got a good hour and a half to really discuss that topic and come up with some potential solutions, and then narrow them down to maybe like 3 policy asks that they think would be really good under that kind of topic. And then to give everybody a bit more of a chance to engage in more than one topic, we then opened it up, and everybody in the workshop was able to go around and vote on the kind of shortlist that each of the group proposed. So that meant by the end, we ran the workshop twice. We had like a certain number of policy proposals and an indication which ones are the ones that people like most or thought would be the most powerful ones. And so then we wrote that up into a draft. And then later, a few months later, we ran a second round of workshops online to make it a bit easier, where we basically presented the draft to our members, and they were able to comment and provide feedback on the document. Yeah, and then that worked really well. Like there was quite a lot of alignment in the types of policies that were proposed and voted on. Fortunately, that made our job a bit easier. And also, yeah, people gave really good feedback in the second round. So we're just about finishing it up now, and it should be published next month. And yeah, so I'm not going to talk about the content because I've only got 3 minutes, and you can look it up when we publish it. But yeah, that's from me. I'm afraid I won't be able to stay for the whole meeting, but I will put my email in the chat. So if any of you have any questions about this, feel free to get in touch with me.
Thank you so much, Lucas. Right, so I would like now to just walk everyone through other kinds of resources that we have put together. So some of you will come from organizations that are very used to putting up these kind of events, but we acknowledge that some of you may not. So here on our website, we have actually assembled, or rather we are in the process of assembling some resources, some toolkits, which will present you with different kinds of events that you may want to put. Again, the idea of this is for you to bring your own messages and your own campaigns and your own projects and whatever you're working on into these resources, which are very flexible to accommodate any kind of topic you may want to bring, any kind of topic that is relevant to your own community, your own lived experiences. So these are some basic resources to help you put together events that you could do for Reclaim the Economy, bringing in your own campaign and organization into a wider unbranded movement. So oh, it worked splendidly. I am stunned. Fabulous. So if you just go onto the website, you would be able to find these resources here on the right under the Take Part section here. I'm just gonna come past this. So if you just scroll down again, use those resources in whatever way is most useful to you as an organization for your own community lived experiences and geopolitical context. These are just ideas to get started. You have access to these free resources that are on this website. So we will come up, as you can see, some of them already are linked to resources, some of them are not. Things will be coming up very soon. What you can do in the meantime is sign up for the latest news. This means signing up to a mailing list where we will update you with the progress of the development of the toolkit, for instance, but also share each other events and really amplify this coalition of organizations joining in to reclaim the economy together. So examples here can be, for instance, community visioning. So this is a card game that was developed by Ethel, and the idea of that is to use community-centric, person-centric elements of understanding what fits into an economy and how does the economy work and what are the priorities to tackle at the scale of the community. So the way these kinds of resources work is that you will have links to, for instance, a facilitation guide, which will take you to a step-by-step guide on how to run such an event. So if you're an organization that doesn't have such experience in running these types of event, or if you'd like to try something different, you can rely on these resources. Most of them have some kind of flexibility that you are able to tailor the questions to the kind of to the community, or simply to the issue that you are most interested in. Sorry about all the ads popping up. But so, for instance, at the bottom of this card game, you will find some empty card slots where you can write your own questions that are tailored for your community, and use these cards as a tailored activity to your own lived experiences and issues of interest. So yeah, you have this toolkit available on their website. The toolkit will grow in the next few weeks with lots of different activities, lots of different focus. So you can see we're going from storytelling to film screening, to using a public space, for example, in the street, to show a little glimpse of the future of your community. So there's a wide diversity and range of proposed activity. And of course, you're very welcome to bring your own activity that you have done for ages. The idea is really just a lot of organizations putting up all together at the same time a variety of events that are tailored to their own community and issues, to create this big global moment where all the eyes are on reclaiming the economy for people and planet. So again, if you'd like to be in the loop of when the resources are published, or just get some inspiration about what others are doing, just sign up at the bottom of all the pages on our website. You can sign up to the mailing list. There we go. Frances has, yes, hi Lisa. So Lisa, I will now hand over to you.
Thanks, Lena. Great to see everybody and see all the resources that are ready for the week. So the next part, I don't know if Lena, you're sharing the slides. Perhaps you could put the questions up on the screen. For the next segment, we want to turn over to you and find out what your ideas are. We know that some of our hubs and some members who have been hearing about the plans for Reclaim the Economy Week for a long time have already been thinking about what you might do to make the most of this week and this moment in January. So we want to turn it over to conversations, and we're going to send you into breakout rooms with about 3 other people. We breakout rooms of 3 or 4, where you can talk about your plans or ideas for Reclaim the Economy Week where you are. And if you don't have anything yet, this might be a moment to think out loud, or just listen to others and maybe take inspiration. And we'd also love to know any barriers, any help that you need, what could help your plan or idea be successful. So 2 really simple questions: any ideas or plans that you have for Reclaim the Economy Week, and then what could help your plan or idea be successful. So you'll only have a couple of minutes each to talk about this, since it's going to be in small groups, but we hope it'll be a good chance to meet each other across this international community as well, and be inspired by the ideas that people have elsewhere. There might be some collaborations that come out of these conversations, but we are not going to do a huge amount of complicated capturing. But if you do have ideas and plans that you'd like to share, note them down, and when we all come back together, we'd love to see them in the chat. And we'd also particularly love to see what help you might need to be successful. As you've heard, this is a week that we're trying for the first time without a huge amount of resource, so we can't promise if the help that you need is £50,000, we probably don't have it. But either from us as the organising team or within the community, we all want to support each other to make these activities happen as much as possible. So you'll be assigned to a breakout room. Enjoy your conversations for the next 10 minutes, and we'll come back together at 22 the hour, whatever that hour is for you. It's at 9:40 here in the UK. And yeah, be ready to share really briefly in the chat what you've talked about. So enjoy your conversations. You'll be sent off into breakout rooms now. Okay, welcome back, everyone. I hope that you had some good conversations and met some new friends in your breakout rooms. As we'd said previously, if anyone wants to share in the chat, we'd love to capture as many of those ideas and plans and, of course, requests for help that you may have. But we'd also love to hear from you verbally as well, if anyone would like to share what you talked about in your conversations, what you're thinking so far about activities you might be part of during the Reclaim the Economy Week. So raise your hand if anyone would like to share, and please do share in the chat as well. Yeah, Lizzie, go ahead.
Hi, how are you? Well, it was so lovely to meet my new friends, Annalise, who's from Sweden, and Meredith from Australia. So we're all over the place. So we were like, actually, we did really kind of identify maybe ways that we could get involved. I'm running a teacher conference for teachers all over Ireland that week. It's on the 29th. So I'm hoping to bring in this as part of their teacher conference. It's just by coincidence. Annalise was saying as well that there's elections in Sweden, and also another group that she's involved in, Mothers of Rebellion, that we could possibly do that. And then Meredith was saying, being involved with the pharmaceutical industry for years, that possibly there's something that you can do from that, maybe a resistance to a little bit to some of maybe the pharmaceuticals that are built on extraction and exploitation of people. There's ours.
Fabulous, thank you. And I love that you're thinking about what's happening anyway. You've got your teacher conference and how to bring these things together. That's perfect. So thank you, Lizzie. I'm glad you got that international connection. Barbecues in Australia and New Zealand at the height of summer sounds great. I wish I could magic myself over there in January for one of your barbecues, Paul. Anyone else want to share verbally? It's lovely to hear your voices as well. Please do raise your hand if you'd like to share with the group. Paul, do you want to tell us any more about your barbecues?
Well, last week of January, it really is the height of summer. So people have come back from their holidays and they're starting to think about the beginning of school in February. So we don't think there would be any appetite for any sort of national coming together. And so can we do something at a local level where where we're based in the leadership team, which would be Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch. It's also the beginning of election year, and it looks like the whole election in New Zealand might be a debate about well-being versus economic growth. The current coalition government is fiercely promoting nasty policies, really, in the name of promoting economic growth, and it's falling very flat. But at the same time, people aren't sure about whether economic well-being economics is a good way to go. So we're preparing resources around that debate, and it could be that this could be a way of linking that local issue to the global debates in a way that would be productive on both sides.
Fantastic. Thank you, Paul. That's all really inspiring to hear about. And Eric, you had your hand up and down again. Did you want to share anything? Please do, if you'd like.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Great, thank you, Lisa. I had the pleasure of meeting Joanne Maris from the Philippines, and we had a bit of a chat on a few things. I think she's working with WEAll a bit on some possibilities for that week, and I just started my PhD here in Osaka in Japan, and was thinking about, is there a way to start a WEAll hub in Asia, which I don't think has been done before, in collaboration. I think the BN, or Basic Income Earth Network, has a hub here, and perhaps with Joanne, and she's in the Philippines, not so far away, or maybe something more Indo-Pacific. I'm not sure, but maybe folks in the call have some ideas around this. Would be of interest.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. And I've got some more people to connect you to. So if you could send me your email in the chat. Our colleague in the WEAll Global team, Amira, is the regional lead for Asia, and she's been speaking to a group of folks in Singapore about a hub, which isn't so far. So yeah, I think there's definitely some people you could connect with, and we have another couple of really active members in Tokyo as well. So yeah, it'd be great to join you up, and you can keep that brainstorming going. All right, wonderful. And Annalise, please go ahead.
Yes, it's just I want to react right away on, I hear there are different countries going for elections, and that could be a fantastic opportunity. I would suggest that we form a subgroup of countries in going for election, because I mean, this is the economy is global, and we can really benefit from each other. So perhaps we leave our emails there too for that group.
Yeah, that's a fantastic suggestion. So we can follow up on that, and please do leave. I think I have your email anyway, Annelise, but please do put it in the chat. And Lena, you want to say?
Yeah, so if I can just hop in. Annelise, I'm also based in Sweden, so that sounds fantastic. I suggest we could coordinate something via the mailing list. So if you want to sign up to the mailing list, there's also some resources that Carrie has just put them in the chat that we'd like to share with everyone on how to best optimize communications linked to these issues. So there's quite a bit of follow-up, I think, from this information webinar. And again, we're going to have one this afternoon, so I expect similar opportunities will rise from there as well. So I encourage you to all get on our website, sign up to the mailing list, and we can coordinate all of that from there. Sorry, back to you, Lisa.
Oh, don't apologise. That's great. And several WEAll country hubs are very focused on elections where they're happening next year. So Denmark as well, Scotland, as you heard from Lukas, the Cymru hub in Wales. So we can also coordinate some participation in that subgroup through the hubs as well. I think that's a fantastic way to maximise our impact and share resources and ideas. And yeah, I love it. Thank you, Annelise. We'll follow up on that. Caroline, please.
Hi everyone, thanks Lisa. I had a great time talking with Carrie and Lena. And so with my WEAll Ireland Hub hat on, we're planning we actually have a roundtable just the week before, as Lisa knows, and so we may be able to come out with some kind of public statement or something as an outcome, but we don't know for sure. But possible, there's a possibility for the week after, which is the Reclaim the Economy week. Also we were thinking of having a webinar actually, because it seems like there's an awful lot that could be discussed about demystifying the economy, making just popularizing the idea that we can all talk about the economy. It's something that everybody is able to weigh in on and talk about, and not just for experts. And also we'd like to bring in artists in some way, because that's something we really think is important, and we've done a lot of, but we're still fine-tuning all of that, but that's what we're thinking of doing. And then with my FASTA hat on, that's the organization I work with for, we do a lot of, we also focus more on sort of global dynamics and European level dynamics. So if there are other people who are interested in that kind of more global perspective, we'd love to hear from you as well. My email's in the chat. So thank you.
Thanks, Caroline. Brilliant. All right, so we'd love to keep hearing from you about these ideas and plans, but also we have some time now for questions, because you may well have those for the organising team, or indeed for others that you've just heard from around the world. So please do also raise your hand or put it in the chat if you've got any questions about the Reclaim the Economy week.
And maybe just to answer a question that was in the chat, so the webinar I mentioned about this afternoon is very similar. We are organising 2 different information webinars to accommodate for different time zones. It's going to be different speakers, but very much the same objective, and you are most welcome to join again if you'd like to make some new friends and new breakout rooms. But yes, the content will be fairly similar.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Lena. Georgia, please go ahead.
Yes, hello everyone. Sorry, my video is off, but my camera doesn't work today. But hello from Australia. See, there's a few others from this part of the world. Yeah, like I have like a question, comment that also came out in the conversation I was having with Hazel in our breakout room. Which is that, like, when I organize events in relation to the economy and, like, you know, different economic thinking, the problem is that you generally get more or less the same audience. Like you appeal to the same people, and if we want to change things, as we know, we need critical mass, and we need to, you know, involve more people that are also maybe not exposed or not interested, for now at least, to a different economic system. So my question or comment, or, like, you know, food for thought, I guess, is like, how do we organize events that attract maybe people that haven't been in this type of events before? Yeah, I just leave it there.
I am claiming this one, Lisa and Francis. Within the toolkit on the website, we've actually thought about this question of how to engage different people that would never show up to a meeting entitled Reclaim the Economy. So you'll find different events to bring in community. One of them that the resource is not clear yet, is going to arrive on the website probably mid October, is actually about doing something in the street that's very, very low level. This is something that was done by an organization which I think is called Parker, which I find fantastic. And it's about renting one of this parking spot. In Sweden, we do it all via app, or you can have a parker meter. But basically, this space, whether you rent it to park your car for 2 hours or anything else, this space you can rent is yours. And so this organization decided to bring, I think, some rolls of grass, that you can get from gardening shops. And a few loungers and a few chairs and some musical instruments, and decided to just reclaim this public space to show, okay, this is what the future could look like with all this public space that is available. And I thought that is so fantastic, because this is absolutely about reclaiming the economy as well, reclaiming the spaces, reclaiming how we allocate different resources. And I think this is something where people, if you were to walk in the street with no previous interest at all, this is a space that is an opportunity to bring in people and kind of start just, seed a little conversation, seed an idea in their heads, and start this very important conversations from the pinpoint of this is what it could look like in your own daily life. So this is one of the resources that is very accessible and public orientated that's on the website. I think the card game is another one. It's all down to framing it. Come have a conversation about the community. Come have a conversation about what you'd like this place to look like in the future. There's also one about storytelling, and the facilitation guide will walk you through how to create the stories of your community some years in the future, and where would you like the community to be. So I think these are all kind of resources that are not politically very sharp, but they are really bringing you both feet into rethinking the economy and rethinking how everything could be. So this is part of reclaiming the economy, but in a way that's very publicly accessible. So these resources, again, sign up to the mailing list, because I'm not done with them. We are gathering them from different organizations. We are producing some. So everything is not done, but we'll update everyone via the mailing list as they come through.
Yeah, it's a really exciting one, Lena. I really hope that some people do that in different places, because I'd love to see it just taking root. And I think some of the other ideas that folk have shared today already have given the seeds for this sort of wider engagement, like barbecues, involving artists, things around drinks, inviting people to come along to a gig or a film screening that doesn't necessarily lead with economy messaging, but where there is an opportunity to learn about economic system change and to open up space for conversation. But the invitation doesn't need to lead with that. Bring people in, all the things that we as humans love to do together: music, food, sitting in circles and talking. So we hope to see lots of that happening around the world. And that's why I was particularly excited by the barbecue idea, because I think that's exactly the right sort of way to attract people. And we also will, I don't know, Francis, you want to say a bit more about trying to reach out to broader audiences digitally as well, and hopefully reach new audiences that we haven't been able to before. I know that's something you're thinking a lot about.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Lisa. So the focus of today is very much about events and activities that you can organise that would need a long run-in time. And we do want this to feel very real and something you can physically get involved in. But we will also see this as like a really big online moment. So our vision is, over the years, this becomes kind of like an Earth Day, but for economic systems change, where you may be working on disability in your day job, but you do have an interest in changing the economy. So for that week, you would be making sure that your social media output and your blog was all about how your issue links to the economy. So the online part of it is really important as well. So we will be producing videos that are really aimed at making this very accessible to a general public, and we'll have those in Portuguese, Spanish and English. And we'll be producing social media content as well, and working with influencers as well to try and get that broader reach. So yeah, even if you're not able to do a physical activity, it would still be amazing if you wanted to share those videos, or think about, is this an opportunity for you to kind of write something or talk about how your issue relates to the economy, or what economic change could look like where you are.
Thank you. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions, but last chance, I think, for questions or comments before I hand back to Francis and Lena to wrap us up. But of course, not really the last chance in this meeting, but we are here for your questions and ideas and to support whatever you want to make happen during the week. So thank you all so much for engaging so well and connecting with each other and sharing. It's amazing to hear these ideas that are already taking shape. So Francis, over to you now to wrap us up.
I can hop in. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us on this little information webinar. I am absolutely showing the wrong slide. There we go. Yeah, we hope you gained a lot from it. We hope you have an understanding of what it is that we are trying to do here, spurring really a big moment for all eyes to be turned towards reclaiming an economy that would be for people and planet. Again, this is unbranded. You know, this is meant to be really a moment where you bring your own message and organizations, campaigns, and projects into it. You can find loads of information on our website. Feel free to get in touch with us. You'll have contacts on the website. You can also sign up to the mailing list, where we're going to try to coordinate different things that came out of this information webinar, and I'm sure that will come out of the next one this afternoon, including country groups looking at how do we tackle elections, looking at different things like this. So yeah, thank you all so much. Thank you to our great speakers. Chellie Spiller for opening and Lukas for presenting what you did with the Wellbeing Economy Alliance in Scotland. And we very much hope to hear from you and to see lots of events growing out of this. And yeah, let's join forces and do this. Thank you again and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you.